Hey guys, welcome back to Cute Claws with Kelly. So this week's video is a little something different. I'm going to show you how I do my removal and prep the nail for another set of dip nails with a new dip manicure. So this was my lovely daughter's birthday mani. You saw that video a few weeks ago. And she lost one of them. We've been spending a lot of time in the water over the summer, and so she had one that was lifting, I guess, and it got caught in her hair in the shower and popped right off. So the good news is it doesn't look like there was any damage to her natural nail. Her natural nails are very thick and strong, unlike mine, so that's good. So we're just gonna do what we need to do here to get the rest of these soaked off. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with my e-file, and I have this coarse bit on here, the one with the little C on it, and I got these from Amazon. This is a Macart like set of drill bits that I picked up. Of course, I'll link everything down in the description box for you. And then this is that newer e-file that I got that's a little more light and portable. And what I'm doing is I'm going to make sure that it spins opposite the way that I'm working. So if I'm working from right to left, I want to make sure that it's spinning from left to right. And I am going to turn it up a little bit more than I normally would. So when I'm normally filing nails, after I've dipped, I'm going on the very lowest setting. Here I'm turning it up a bit. Kind of hard to say how many RPMs because it just has like a little roller on the side of it, but I'm having it go a little bit faster just so that it works to take off the gel top coat a little faster. So that's what I'm doing here. So you can see that as I'm moving my drill over it, it's just kind of sloughing off that gel top coat, and we're going down to the dip. And the way that you know that you've got all of the gel top coat off is because the nail, instead of being shiny, will be matte. So I do speed it up here just to show you that I'm doing the same thing on every single nail. So I'll come back in just a little bit when we're ready to move to the next step. So just popping in real quick before we move on to the next step to just let you guys know that I am not touching her natural nail with this coarse drill bit at this speed. That would severely damage the natural nail. It would probably feel pretty hot on her, and I don't want to hurt her. So I am keeping this over the dip. Now, another thing that you could do is you could take a little bit of the dip off with this step. The more dip that you take off, you do need to be careful about, getting down to the natural nail. But if you took some of the dip off, that would mean that there's less of it on the nail to soak in the acetone later. So that might, save you some time from soaking if you spend a little more time drilling. I prefer to drill less and soak a little longer to get all of that off. So it's just an option for you, something to keep in mind. But again, if you are going to use the drill to take some of the dip powder off, you just need to be careful at what speed you're doing it. You want to keep the drill moving so that it's not sitting and getting hot in any one particular spot. And then, of course, make sure that you're not touching the natural nail anywhere, whether you're just taking off the gel top coat like I am, or if you're working to take actually some of the dip powder off. So I just wanted to mention that real quick. We're going to finish this second hand, just removing the top coat here, and I'll be back in just a second for the next step. So now that that's all done, we're going to go ahead and dust off all of the powder. And you'll notice I put a towel down to try to capture as much of the filings as I can. It just, I think it holds on to the nail dust a little bit better. And then, so I had my fluffy brush there, but I also had kind of the coarser brush that I was using to dust off all the powder. So now we're ready for soaking. So I've got, I used the baggie method, got a Ziploc bag here with a paper towel inside. I used a big one, like a gallon size Ziploc bag, just because I wanted it to be big enough for her to put, you know, hold enough liquid in it and stuff so that she could do both hands in there, I should say. So I'm using this coconut oil. I got this ages ago from Costco. It was a double pack. I will see if I can link it down below, this specific brand, but any, you know, coconut oil that's meant for hair and nail and skin is what you want. This is kind of melted, kind of solidified just because of the temperature in my home, I suppose. But the hotter, of course, it's going to be a little more liquidy. So you just need to be careful on opening it if it's really liquidy. I've had a little bit of an accident in the past, so just wanted to warn you all about that. So I do put a good amount of that in there when I also then go in to add this you know, acetone soak off. It's the blue Onyx coconut scented, and I do love this stuff. I've tried a few different things. I think that this works the best, and acetone is very drying, and so putting the coconut oil in there kind of combats that and leaves the skin feeling nice and hydrated, even though you just, you know, are pulling your hand out of sitting in this baggie with the acetone. So I'm going to zip it up. I'm just going to kind of let it saturate the paper towel, and that's all that you need. You know, you need to just make sure that there's enough in there to saturate the paper towel, but also just a little bit extra. And then here, I know a lot of people use like hot rice or a hot bowl of water. I prefer to use a heating pad, and I turn my heating pad up all the way to high. And I like the heating pad version better than the rice or the hot bowl of water, because I can keep it the same temperature as long as I need, and then I don't have to deal with the water cooling and then having to get another bowl of hot water or reheating the rice, all of that. So I think that this works better. So I just have her hold that in her lap and like scratch her nails on the paper towel. So acetone reacts to heat, and so heat really is the key here. This process would take forever if you did not heat up the acetone. And I think that this was right around 10 minutes for her to soak off all of the dip from her first hand. So then I just have her switch hands, put her other hand in there, and then hold that in the heating pad on her lap, which she'll do in just a second. And I'm just taking a paper towel and drying her hand, getting some of that oil off of her skin. But her hand is, you know, not dry at all. It doesn't have that white chalkiness to it, which if I didn't put the coconut oil in there, it would definitely have. And I'm just checking the nail real quick here to make sure that all the product did come off, and it did. It came off beautifully. So now I'm going to move right into just pushing back her cuticles. Now when I push back the cuticles, I'm just pushing back the live tissue. So if there's a little bit of like dead cuticle on her nail plate, I am not scraping that back. I am leaving that where it is. I'm just trying to push back her live cuticle away from where I need to work to take off the dead stuff that's stuck to the nail plate. So that's what I'm doing here, just with a standard cuticle pusher. And then in a minute, I'm going to switch to my next tool to take off that dead cuticle. So next I'm going to take this diamond round drill bit. It's specifically for removing the dead cuticle. And I'm going to switch that onto my nail drill. And with this, I'm going to go on the very lowest setting. And I'm not going to apply any pressure. And I'm just going to go right around where the cuticle meets the nail on the nail plate, and I'm going to work to just kind of take this off, the dead cuticle off of the nail plate and clean it up a bit. So I really find that this bit is very useful in taking all of the dead stuff away, also around the live tissue. Anything that's dead is just going to kind of get shaved off. Again, no pressure here. I'm just going in nice and light and easy for it to do its work. And then this really helps with the fact that later on I don't have to really nip the cuticles with the cuticle nipper. And so again, I just highly recommend getting one of these little cuticle balls to do this work. So I'm gonna let you guys watch me finish up this, and then we're gonna get into the next tool. I'll be right back. Okay, so now I'm going to switch to my 240 grit sanding band, which is a drill bit that came with this particular nail drill, and it actually comes with most nail drills, I think, nowadays. And it came with a few of the sanding bands, but of course I picked up just a bag of extras just to keep. So I'm just lightly going up against the cuticle with this bit, and then I'm going over the whole nail plate just to remove the shine from it and rough it up a bit so that it is 100% prepped and ready for the dip application. So by it being rough, that is what's going to help the dip powder adhere to her natural nail. So I'm gonna let you guys watch me get this done, and then I think at that point we're pretty much done with using the drill, and then I just do a little bit of the shaping with the hand nail file, so I'll get into that in a little bit, so I'll be right back. So after I dust, I do go in with the cuticle nippers just to get any of the bits that are, you know, pretty much detached away from her live tissue, but they're just hanging on by a little tiny bit, and I couldn't get it with the two nail drill bits that I was using. So this is just to get those little wavy bits of the dead tissue off, just to make sure that everything is looking nice and neat and clean on the cuticles. So I just use that nipping tool ever so gently and ever so little. I'm certainly not taking a lot of tissue off of each nail on each cuticle. And then I'm moving right into using my hand file to do a little bit of shaping on the side walls and the free edge. She does like the coffin shape. I guess it's a mix between, you know, square and just a slight coffin. But I do find that, you know, working with the shaping prior to dipping is helpful, because then I don't have to file as much after I've put the dip on her nails. And then obviously it's a lot easier to file just the natural nail than it is to file the nail with all of the dip application on it, because it's just thicker and it takes a little bit more effort. So that's why I recommend doing kind of a pre-shaping before you get into the dip. But this is pretty much the last step, you know, that her nails are then going to be prepped and ready. I do go in after I dust off her nails to get all the powder off from the filings. I do go in with the alcohol wipe, and then I also put on a dehydrator and then a primer, or sometimes, you know, it's a 2-in-1 kind of a thing. The primer is the dehydrator, and that's what I will put on right before I start laying down the dip liquids base and then dipping her finger into the powder. So that is it. That is all the nail prep that I have. I hope that you guys found this video useful and helpful. I'll let you just finish up watching the last little bit that I do here, and I'll come right back at the very, very end. I forgot to mention this. I don't always do this, but sometimes if I notice that she's got like a little bit of crust underneath her nail from the soaking in the acetone and removing the dip powder from her last mani, then I will go in with the other end of the cuticle pusher to kind of just scrape underneath the nail and get all of that that crust that kind of can form up underneath there off, just so that it's clean on the underside of the nail as well. So I totally forgot about that. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just going to do that really gently on each nail. Okay, so this is it. This is the last step for removing the old dip mani and prepping the nail. I hope you guys found this video helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next vid. Bye-bye.